Your school, your department, or your faculty, or your lecturer, or professor, or instructor may summon you over academic integrity issues for various reasons, but mostly it's because they suspect that you have engaged in one or more forms of academic misconduct, such as contract cheating, or even using artificial intelligence or AI to complete assignments. In this video, I want to run you over why that might be the case and how to respond in case you're sure you did not engage or commit any of the school guidelines regarding academic integrity. But before I go into that, I like to start by saying that I'm not creating this video to endorse, encourage, or support any form of academic misconduct. Please refer to your specific school's guidelines on academic integrity. Now, the first thing that teachers usually look for, and this is very simple, they just look at the inconsistencies in your writing, the language, grammar, the language mechanics. Say that you have completed several assignments, they can easily just compare your current paper and the previous papers you've done. If they notice any inconsistencies, including changes in spellings, maybe you're using US spellings in one paper and you decide to use UK spelling in another paper, that can also raise suspicion. They also look at the overall grammar usage, and these days they also have modern software that can check and compare various documents to determine if they were written by the same person. So that is a basic way they can look into a paper and decide that there's something that you need to clarify, there's something you need to go and prove, and that is why maybe they have summoned you over the same. Of course, they also look at the consistencies in the quality of the paper. So definitely teachers are not stupid. I am a teacher, I'm not stupid. So I can just look at how you've been performing over time. If I see a huge jump in the grades, that can be a reason for me to suspect that my student has engaged in one or more forms of academic misconduct. So definitely what you want to do is ensure that this progressive change, even in terms of the grades, because if the quality jumps from one grade to another all of a sudden, it can be a reason for somebody to suspect that you may have engaged in academic misconduct. Other than these basic ways, they also have other technical ways that can look at the assignment and decide that you have something to answer, and that is looking at the file properties. Now, most of the times we may be using a software to type an assignment, such as Microsoft Office Word. And what Word does is that it records certain details along with the paper that can be used, or rather that teachers can use to cross-check and determine that you have a question to answer. So let's say we create a file using Microsoft Office. So I'm going to launch my Office. So I'm going to just create a random file. I don't even want to basically, let's assume it has some details. So obviously I'm going to save it. Let me just save it to my desktop, and then just save it with sample, and then I save. So once I save, there are certain details that my software will start recording. The minute I launched this software and I started creating a document, we have certain details that the software has started recording. And these are the things we want to look at. So I'm going to close it, and then I'm going to identify this is a file, all right? So I'm going to go to right click, and then I'm going to open properties, and then I'm going to look at the details. So here there are quite a number of things that we can see. Okay, we can see the authors, we can see the last saved by, and we can also see editing time, total editing time. So you can see here it's showing 0 because I basically opened it and I closed it immediately. I didn't take even more than a minute on it. So it shows how much time I have spent on that document. It also shows the last person to save it, and it also shows the author. So let me open it, and then we spend a little time on it so that it records a little bit of time on that. So basically, as you can see, it records the name of the author. records the name of the author. And basically, the name of the author is usually the name logged in the Microsoft Office that you're using. So sometimes maybe you're using a laptop or a PC that the software is not registered, is not logged in. So you will not have an author name. Instead, you may have just admin as the author name. But in this case, as you can see, my Office Word is correctly registered and it is signed in. So I'm just trying to buy time so that I demonstrate something. So basically, when you're typing, the minute you open a document, the software records some details, including the author, including the last person to save it, and also the editing time. So basically, editing time in Microsoft Word is basically the time that document was open in your PC. How much time was that document open? It doesn't really mean the time you are actually actively typing something or editing something, but the amount of time that document remained open in your particular computer. And usually, even if you have even if you open a document right now, you work on it, you close it, it will stop counting. The next time you come and start again working on it, it will continue counting. However, if you're combining two different files into one, it will not add up the two different timelines. It will basically take the timeline of the final document, the timeline spent on the final document. So basically, I'm just trying to buy time so that I demonstrate this. So let me just try to close it. Hopefully it has recorded some time so that we can go ahead and explain. So I'm going to again identify the document, and I'm going to go to properties. If the author name appearing here is not your name, that can also be an issue. The last saved by, it's appearing as recorded, is also not your details. That can also be an issue. The other thing is also the total editing time. Let's say you copy pasted something from generated by AI, maybe a 1,000 words worth of text you copy pasted from an AI. So you copied and pasted on Office Word. Definitely you're gonna spend probably less than a minute to do that. So the teacher is gonna wanna look at that and wonder, what are the chances that you could have completed 1,000 words worth of paper in this very little time? So that can raise questions, because it doesn't really look possible that you spend so little time on this whole document. So that can be an issue. That can be an issue that that can be raised. So what can you do in this instance? What can you do in this instance? Probably you want to make sure that whenever you're typing, you're using a computer that is logged in with your name, Office Word rather, that is logged in with your name. Thankfully, this is also editable. You can actually just come here and edit the name and make sure you input your name there, in case you're using a borrowed PC, or you're using a PC that is not yours, or a public computer that's not logged in. So you can just come back here later and input the author. In fact, you can input several authors. Okay, so you can easily edit this. Last saved by, this is also something you can just change by ensuring you are actually the last person to open that document and change something. So maybe even if you copy pasted that and you saved it in somebody else's computer, you need to make sure that the last change, okay, the last edit, the last change of the file was actually completed using your computer. That could be including just deleting something and adding it back. That will be enough to record you as the final author of that particular document. The other thing you can also do is also ensure that the amount of time here, actually you can see now it's showing me that it's 1 minute, right? Because I've opened it and I've spent some time on it. It's basically adding. Anytime the document remains open, it adds. So the other thing you can use, and this is especially for those who probably have completed the document in a different software. So they basically just copy pasted it onto Office Word. Let's say you are working on Google Docs, right? So you typed the assignment on Google Docs, so you copy pasted it onto Office Word for formatting and then submission. So you may want to allow some time. Don't just copy paste and submit immediately. Maybe copy whatever you have from the other software you're using, and paste it onto Office Word, but leave the document open. Just don't close the document, leave the PC open, the document open for some time. Typically the time you naturally take to complete that assignment. Let's say it's a 10-page document that you spend 5 hours working on it. Then it may make sense to copy and paste it here and leave it open for around 5 hours, because that is the typical time that you naturally take to complete it. But if you copy and paste it here, let's say you copy a bunch of text. Let's just look for a bunch of text on the internet and see. Let's just try to look at effects of COVID-19. So let's say you copy pasted this document. Maybe it's AI generated or just something you copy pasted. It's quite a long document. If you have all these, either you had it from an AI, you generated it via AI, or you typed it using Google Docs, that doesn't matter. If you paste it here and you immediately save it, you close it, when the teacher will be opening the file, the teacher will look at the time spent on that document, and from there he or she will definitely see that you spend only 2 minutes. Then they'll start questioning themselves, how is it possible that you were able to complete this entire document in 2 minutes? So that is one way you can prevent such issues. If you are typing using a different software, let's say you are working on Google Docs. Some people have preferred working on Google Docs because it allows you to work across different devices. Sometimes even if you don't have Office installed on your PC, I've seen many people working on Google Docs. Let's say you're working on Google Docs and you basically just copy pasted that the paper you've just completed, you copy pasted that to Office Word. So typically that will be very crucial, because if you don't allow it time to record enough time, it can easily be suspected that you cheated. Now, the riskiest thing to do is to go ahead and delete all these files. If you can delete all these properties, the riskiest thing to do is to delete these properties. If you delete them, like remove personal information and remove everything, this is even worse because it raises a lot of suspicion. I think the document is still open. So if you go ahead and remove these personal details, because Office Word allows you to do that. If you go ahead and remove all these details like this, then the file will go without any author, without any last saved by, revision number. It will basically go without all these details, and this is even riskier because it raises a lot of questions. The total editing time basically relates to the amount of time that document remained open in your Office Word. So right now, since this document is closed, it's no longer recording time, but the minute I open it, even if I'm not actively doing anything on it, it will be recording some time. But remember, this only works if the document is actually in editing mode, not protected view. In protected view, it does not continue counting the minutes. It only counts the minutes when the document remains open, even if you're not actively working on it, if it remains open in the editing mode. Now, what can you do if you come across such a scenario, where you come across a scenario where the teacher is alleging that you may have cheated? What can you do? Teachers will typically ask you to provide some evidence to confirm that you actually completed that assignment, and one of the things they'll ask for is the drafts. So ensure when you are working, if you are writing, if you are typing using different softwares, you probably have different drafts. Make sure you don't delete them. Make sure you keep them until you are graded, because they might ask for those drafts as proof that you actually completed it. And usually they ask you to join a meeting using the device you used to type that assignment, so that they can ask you to share the screen and you show them the drafts as they are saved in your machine. So if you're working with drafts, ensure you can also provide that. The other form of evidence you may be asked to provide is any transfer, evidence of transferring the file. Probably you are typing from one software to another. There may be a way you transferred that document to the final PC where you submitted it from. So they may want you to show them the evidence of those transfers, including the time stamp. So let's say you are working on computer A, but you send yourself the drafts via email so that you can continue working on another computer. So make sure if you have those conversations where you're sending yourself those drafts, you can actually take a screenshot and show them, of course including the timestamps of where you're transferring. But it's also possible that you may have transferred the document via airdrop, you may have transferred the document via data cable. So in that case, probably you might want to explain and say, I was working on computer A, but I transferred the files to computer B using a data cable using Bluetooth or even airdrop. So that can also be another way for you to defend yourself in case that is what you did. They may also request you to show them your browser history. So if you did a paper, there must be such histories stored on your browser. So if they request for browser histories, ensure you also provide the browser history. So obviously you will have to log into the PC you used while typing and share the screen during the meeting, showing them the browser histories. For example, if I'm using Chrome, you can actually see my search history. You can see what I searched before. So if you did an assignment, you definitely have some form of search history that you can use to show that I actually did research. It's because Google stores that information. But that can be an issue if you're using a public computer or a work computer that automatically deletes all browser histories when you quit the browser, especially if for privacy reasons. Probably you may have set your browser to clear all histories and check on every exit. So that can be an issue, because how then will you prove that you actually did that assignment? The other thing that they may also ask is they might basically want to look at inconsistency with referencing, or they may request you to provide the references, the list of the references you used. For example, there's an article you cited, and probably those articles are not available for free. So they may want to ask you to prove that you actually accessed those articles. If you purchased those articles, they may want you to show evidence that you purchased those articles. So to defend yourself, you can share or send them the references, the articles you used, and that now boils down to ensuring that you actually use real articles when you're completing your paper. Because if you're using fake references, if the lecturer asks for those references and you can't access them, then of course there'll be an issue. How then did you cite this article yet you didn't have access to it? If you bought it, then there must be a form of evidence of you buying that article. Maybe you were charged to your card, or you created a profile with some website that provided the document. So of course we want to show that. So that basically means if you are doing research, ensure that you only refer and cite articles or sources that you can actually access in case they are needed. In case you have to purchase those articles, of course, keep records of any purchases you've made of those articles or books, because if you don't, you're gonna have to be in a lot of trouble. So the other thing they may also be interested in looking is, of course, your understanding of the paper. They may ask you a few questions regarding that assignment. So ensure if it's a paper you've completed, you have a good understanding of it. Proofread, understand it properly. So in case they call you into a meeting and they want you to confirm or prove that you actually did that assignment, you actually have knowledge of the paper. If it's a paper you did it yourself, then of course you must at least have some knowledge about it. Now the issue is, sometimes this can come 3 months later after you did the paper. Maybe you've done a lot of things along the way and you don't remember well about the paper, because probably you have so many assignments along the way. So if they're coming 3-4 months later to ask you to tell us something about your paper, that can be an issue. But the good thing is that most schools will give you some time to plan for the meeting. So take your time, go through that paper, remind yourself about that paper, have some understanding of what that paper was about, because they'll ask you questions about it to confirm that you actually did it. Now, in case there's any inconsistencies with your grammar's and quality of the grammar and grammar mechanics, you can always defend yourself by proving that you used software such as Grammarly. If you look at a paper that has been edited by Grammarly and you compare it with another paper that has not been edited, of course the paper that has been edited using Grammarly will typically be more fluent in terms of the quality. It will definitely have better vocabulary than a paper that has not been edited. So in case you used any of these softwares to edit your paper, you need to show them the evidence. Probably show them the evidence that you use Grammarly by actually showing them the purchases, because for you to use Grammarly Premium you must have paid. So keep those records, keep the evidence of showing that you actually used Grammarly. If you borrowed the logins from a friend, you must prove that. So basically, maybe if you texted this friend on WhatsApp or you texted them on iMessage, they may even ask you to provide a screenshot and a timestamp of you asking for those credentials so that you can use Grammarly. In case you can, they are asking about an article that you don't have access to, and that article you accessed it via a friend's account, then of course there must be some form of evidence to prove that there was actually a communication between you and your friend regarding that particular source or that particular book. And of course you need to provide evidence of the same, including timestamps. Guys, that's all. I hope it's been useful. I hope that helps you keep you out of trouble. So stay tuned. In case this is the first time on the platform, don't forget to subscribe, and let's meet in the next video.